This is the presentation of the Universal Single Notcher 20 LT. This particular model has the table where it actually raises, allowing you to cut from 3 1/4 of an inch all the way to a 1/4 inch depth. A few things we want to go through with it is, first, this is your electrical enclosure. This particular unit has 480 volts going to it. Back here is where you'll hook your air up, and the pressure is factory set at 90 psi. Currently the table is set in a configuration to do a 2.5 inch notch. How we know that is this yellow piece here, the bottom of it on this indicator is at 2 1/8. That tells us that it's a 2 1/8 inch notch. If you lower the table all the way down, it'll be at 3 1/4, and that would be your notch. To raise and lower the table, these wheels are on each corner. You'll turn the wheel to raise it, to lower it. You have to do this one, then that one, the other one, and all the way around at about a 1/2 inch increment. So you'll do this one at a 1/2 inch, that one at a 1/2 inch, the other one at a 1/2 inch, and the other one at a 1/2 inch, all the way around. Notice that there is a tube and tube configuration here. This tube slides down into this tube. That's to bring rigidity to the table so it doesn't move. It's a pretty tight fit, so you want to make sure that you provide grease, and the grease fittings that are provided here, here, and the front also has them. Moving on around toward the front of the machine, right now we have the air on it to demonstrate what you will see when you do a 2 inch notch. We are providing a piece of UHMW here. Without this, you could gain access to the head. So we put this in place to keep your hands away from harm's way. Whenever you change the depth by raising and lowering the table, you'll have to change this. At 3 1/4 inch, there is no use for it. Anything above that, 2 1/8, 2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1 inch, there are UHMW pieces provided to change them. You simply take the nut out of this bolt, we'll take the air off, pull this out, take the nut off this bolt, remove it from on both sides, remove the piece, and put the piece that's marked in it in its place. Moving on over here, this machine has extra long arms, so they'll bolt here and here onto each of those arms provided. And this shows the notches that we've cut. Here's the 2 inch, the 2 1/8, the 1/4 inch, 3 1/4, and so on. To change the width of the particular notch that you've got, you'll remove these 2 bolts that are in the table. You'll remove the air from the system. Raise the head up, table up, to gain access to the head. Notice when you do that, you now have access to this sheave. So you'll remove this guard. You'll then have to loosen your motor bolts up, take the belts off the sheave, remove the shaft assembly out. Once you remove the shaft assembly, to get a 2 inch or a 1 inch notch, you would then leave these 2 in and remove all the others. Do 1 1/4 would actually give you an 1.5 inches. You'd have 3. To do 5, so that's how you would do it. You have to remove this out. Once you remove that out, then you loosen these bolts up here, and you slide all this apart, and then put it back together to configuration you want. So again, you'll remove the air, you'll remove the power, you remove these bolts to the table, you raise the table back up, remove the head, get it to the configuration you want, put the head back in, put the belts back on, tighten the motor belt back up, and proceed. Very important, when you lower this table, make sure that the table is all the way back. Lower it back down. Make sure it's all the way back before you introduce the air to it. Also, as you raise and lower your table, the chute deflector here has got slots cut in it. You'll loosen these bolts. So if you go higher, you'll notice chips will come back at you some. You can take and loosen these bolts, lower that down so it doesn't rub the table, but it keeps fragments that's being notched out from coming back on the operator. Then obviously when you lower it down, you have to raise this up as well. These guards here are put into place so that you can't gain access back into the machine. Keep all these in place, and that will just about do it.